Welcome to the Happy Mama Movement podcast. I'm Amy Taylor-Kabbaz. I would like to start by acknowledging the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation on which this podcast is recorded as the traditional custodians of this land, and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. And as this podcast is dedicated to the wisdom and knowledge of motherhood, I would like to acknowledge the mothers of this land, the elders, their wisdom, their knowing, and my own elders and teachers. Welcome back, everyone. On the 22nd of July, 2014, I registered my very first website, wanting to start sharing my story, my research and insights into motherhood, which means it has now been 9 years of creating content, and for most of that time, creating podcasts, both in this podcast and a previous incarnation, sharing stories of motherhood and matrescence from all over the globe. And so I think we often don't pause and celebrate enough in our current culture. And I also know that we have so much knowledge hidden in the archives of this podcast. And so in recognition of that, the team and I are going to be bringing you some micro matrescence moments over the next few weeks, highlights and insights from some of our episodes that you can listen to. And if you want to go deeper, pop into the show notes and see which episode to go back to and listen. Thank you for being here, perhaps for the last 9 years or just for the last few minutes. This is how we change the way we support mothers. Debra, thank you so much for making time to speak to my beautiful mama audience. I so appreciate it.
Well, I so appreciate you inviting me, and any chance to spend time with you makes me very happy. I was pushing 30 and I thought, you know what? Woman does not live by mantra alone, and I need to make a little money. I need to get a car insurance and health insurance, maybe a car to insure. So I decided that I was going to leave the meditation community I was living in, and I was going to go to Los Angeles, because that's where I thought I would make money. So I got a job selling investments, and you know the expression, we make plans and God laughs. Well, God had a big laugh over me making money when I went to LA to sell investments, because I was a dismal failure. But oftentimes we think we're doing something for one reason, but God, or the creator, the God of your understanding, has a different plan. So even though I was a failure at selling investments, one night my colleagues invited me to join them at a money seminar, and I thought it was going to be about stocks and bonds, when in fact it was kind of a new age type of a gathering, where the gentleman who was leading the program was talking about the law of attraction and about how our mind creates our reality. And if we think thoughts of success and prosperity, we will draw success and prosperity to us no matter what our current financial situation. And if we think thoughts of, oh, I'm never going to be able to own a house, I can't pay the mortgage, I'll never get out of debt, no matter what our financial situation is, we will be drawing more of that into our lives. And he said so much more. One of the ways to become wealthy and successful is to help others become wealthy and successful. And by the law of reciprocity, it will come back to us. Well, I was so blown away by everything this gentleman was saying that the next morning I went and I quit my job selling investments, which people say, wow, you quit your job. Well, remember, I hadn't made one sale. So I was not a hero. The reason why I had the confidence to do that is that I really believe that an idea comes to you because it wants to be manifested through you. That's why we all have different ideas. You have the idea to do this podcast. Somebody else has an idea to become a massage therapist. Somebody else to open a pizza parlor. Somebody else to give success seminars. And I believe that the Creator whispers in our ear what the creation needs in order to keep it going on the highest level. level. And if we don't listen to that whisper of the creator, then the creator is going to whisper it to somebody else. And we probably all had that experience where we had a great idea, right? And we never acted on it.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Right? And then somebody else did, and you're like, that was my idea. That's right. You had first dibs, but you didn't act on it. So the creator gave it to somebody else because it was needed at that time. And the creator can't come down and have a podcast for moms. So the creator whispered this into your ear because it was needed at the time. Because I believe that when you have an idea, what is sacred, your idea is sacred, should be kept secret. And if you go around telling everybody what you're going to do, you're going to bump up against the discouragement committee. Those people are going to tell you all the reasons why your idea isn't going to work. And so you want to keep your precious idea, that sacred secret.
This is what I love so much about your story, because at the height of you traveling the world and having people run your trainings in other countries, you chose to stop, didn't you?
I did. And it's interesting, Amy, that you say I chose. And not only that, I had my Yes to Success book was in the hands of a major agent who already had garnered interest from several New York publishing houses. And I was in negotiations for my own daytime TV talk show.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and I, it's funny. And I remember the date. It was July 5th, 1988. And I just gave it up. I had the first infomercial in the history of infomercials to sell a self-improvement product. I gave that up, and the TV show and the book and the seminars, and just cold turkey, because that was the day that my daughter was born. And I took one look at her and I thought, I teach people to follow the truth that resonates in their hearts. And my truth from that moment was that I didn't want to leave this child to go to the bathroom, let alone to go and do seminars in Singapore. So if I was going to be the teacher who lived the teaching, if I was going to really walk my talk, my career had to come to a screeching halt. So I put it all on hold, and I became a full-time mom at home. And there I remained for 21 years. Actually, it's funny. I had the guy in Singapore who was going to set up a series of seminars for me in Southeast Asia. I remember he called me and he said, we heard you had the baby. Come on, let's get the seminars on the book. And I said to him, his name was Chiang. I said, Chiang, you're going to have to call me back in 18 years. If we follow those impulses of our heart, we will always end up at our destination, even if it seems that our mind says logically we should be going right, but our heart, our intuition says we should be going left. It makes no sense. I urge you to go left, and I promise you, every dream you have, that's the direction to take to make them come true. Well, I want to make a few things really clear. One is that, again, people say, oh, you're a hero. You gave up your career. No, I'm not any kind of hero. First of all, I didn't have a choice. I was so freaking in love. But second of all, I had a wealthy husband. So I could have the luxury of staying home and raising my kids. However, I don't say to every woman or every man in this case, that they absolutely should stay home with their children, that it's the best thing for their children. That is simply not true, because there are kids that were raised by aunties and foster parents and guardians and grannies, and they turned out to be fabulous people. What the creator said to me was, remember the book. And I'm like, yes, I do remember the book. I had the best agent, and she was shopping it to the best publishers. And then this impulse said, no, not that book. And I saw an image of a book that I had read a couple years before, and it was about a man who had actually died, and he was revived and he came back. And the story was that when he died, he went through that long tunnel of darkness. And then at the end, there was a being of light who said to him, would you like to see the high points of your life? And he said, yes, I would. And it was it was like a movie reel, but it was really short. It just showed him dancing with his daughter at her wedding and showing his son how to swing a baseball bat. And after he saw those images, he said to the being of light, about when I brought my company public? What about when I opened the factories in Japan? What about, and the being of light said, all of those moments glorified you. And then he said, I'd like to show you the life of somebody who you know who also just passed on. And would you like to see it? And the man said, yes, I would. And he was like a little bit indignant, even in heaven. And in the book, it says that these curtains of golden light parted, and there sitting on a throne of golden light was the woman who used to clean his house, who used to take 2 or 3 buses just to get to his house to clean it for him. And the being of light said, you used to think of her as some poor, pathetic creature, but she was a very, very happy woman. And I'm going to show you a movie reel of the highlights of her life. And it showed her carrying a pot of soup to a sick friend. And it showed her stroking her mother's hair as her mother was making her transition into death. And it showed her comforting a sad child, saying, it's going to be okay. And it showed her cheering at the baseball games for the kids whose parents couldn't be there because they had to work 2 or 3 jobs just to put food on the table. And it showed her just going to church and hugging everybody up and saying, how you doing today? And the being of light said to the man, when you get here, you discover that the only thing that matters is how much love you give.
Trust that it will still come. Do what you need to do right now to listen to that heart and follow what love feels like, knowing that there is a beautiful balance to be had there somewhere.
And the way that we can know that we are living a life worth living is enjoy every moment, have gratitude. And let me tell you guys, most of my friends, and this is the truth, who have New York Times bestseller books and who are, some household names, none of them have children. And if the truth be known, they all wish that they had what I have and what you all have. So just hold those babies close to you and thank God that you have the most precious gift in the world. Your Dharma is not going to go away. Give as much love as you possibly can, and it will be waiting for you on the other side.
Thank you for being a part of this movement and for listening to these amazing insights and stories of matrescence from mothers and experts around the world. Please know that you can be a part of this revolution by being a part of our Mama Rising Coaching Certification, which is open now and we start in September. Find out all the details by going to mamarising.net. And thank you again for being here. See you next time.